in San Jose. Today on the call, we are joined by UFC President Dana White, UFC Lightweight Champion Benson Henderson, Strikeforce Lightweight Champion Gilbert Melendez, former two-time UFC Heavyweight Champion Frank Mir, and Strikeforce Heavyweight Grand Prix Champion Daniel Cormier. At this time, I will turn it over to Dana White. Dana?
Good morning, everybody. Thanks for calling in. We appreciate your time. Go ahead, you can ask the first question.
And if anyone would like to ask a question, you may do so by pressing star followed by the number 1 on your telephone keypad at this time. Please make sure the mute function is turned off to allow your signal to reach our equipment. We will take our first question from Kelly Tidwell of Fighters House.
Hi, this message is for Destiny. With also Super Talk and potential Jose Aldo matchup, are you actually looking past Gilbert?
I'm definitely not looking past Gilbert. Gilbert's tough guy. He might not have the biggest name. There might be bigger fights and all that blah, blah, blah out there. But I know how tough Gil is. I know he's the Strikeforce champ, rated, top 2, top 3 on the planet for a long time for a reason. I'm not looking past him at all. Not even close.
Okay, and one more question, if I may, for Cormier and Gilbert. With the recent success of the Strikeforce fighters and currently in the UFC, do you guys feel any pressure coming up into your UFC debut?
I guess I'll go first. No pressure at all. Taking a little bit of confidence, seeing all the guys do well. It's just a little juice and energy. We're going to do our best out there.
Do you see the offer?
Danny, will you go ahead and answer that question regarding the success of Strikeforce fighters in the UFC thus far?
And this is the operator. It looks like Mr. Cormier is disconnected. We will actually, he just rejoined.
Daniel, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Kelly, would you go ahead and re-ask that question for Daniel?
Yeah, Daniel, with the recent success of Strikeforce fighters, do you still feel any added pressure coming into your UFC debut?
No, those guys have done well. As Dana stated, they were hungry to fight in the big show, and just as we are. I don't feel any pressure. I'm going to go out and fight like I normally do. But we're all UFC fighters now. There's no weight on my shoulder to carry the organization, Strikeforce or anything. So I'm just going to go out and fight my fight, let everything fall into place. I think if there's pressure, it's being in the co-main event of a Fox card, and I've dealt with that, so I don't feel any pressure at all, actually.
Thank you guys for your time.
And once again, that is star followed by the number 1. If anyone else would like to ask a question at this time, we will go next to Luke Meredith of the Associated Press.
And this question is for Dana White. A little bit off topic. There was an essay released by USA Wrestling this week that mentioned prominently that one way wrestling can really modernize itself ahead of the IOC vote later this year is to be more like the UFC. And so I guess that leads me to ask you a two-parter. One, what's your take on maybe what traditional wrestling can do to see success following what you guys have done? And two, has the UFC reached out to USA Wrestling in any way to sort of say, hey, here's financial, either otherwise, or ways to help ahead of what they're going through?
Well, that's funny because when we heard that there was being yanked from the Olympics, that's what I said. I said, it needs to be more fan-friendly, it needs to be more exciting. I have met with a lot of the top guys in wrestling. Actually, I met with them last Tuesday. And, the UFC is joining the fight to help save Olympic wrestling. Not just Olympic wrestling. I mean, colleges are dropping wrestling now. High schools have been dropping wrestling for a long time. Myself, I personally have funded tons of wrestling programs, and the UFC has funded tons of wrestling programs for high school kids.
Okay. And just to follow up on that, are there any concrete plans as to what you guys might do with Olympic wrestling, or is it just now in the discussion phase?
Yeah, it's in the discussion phase. These guys are going out and fighting the fight. Whatever they need from me, I think what I could do, and not just me, in the UFC, but I think other companies like Bellator too. You know, Viacom owns Bellator, and I think Viacom would be probably interested in helping fight the fight too.
Thanks, Anna.
Yeah.
Once again, that is star followed by the number 1 for questions. We will go next to Heidi Fang of MMA Fight Corner.
Hi, I'm experiencing a little bit of static here on my phone, and if you guys can hear me, thank you for the time. For Gilbert and for Benson, everything about you guys is similar on paper. How important is it for each of you to prove who's the undisputed champion in this fight? First for Benson, if you would please.
Yeah, me, I'm not really too worried about proving like this or that. I just want to go out there and win every fight. It doesn't matter. There's always going to be new and different stipulations, new and different reasons to win. Like, oh, I want to win this fight. Just like you was talking about my mom. Oh, I really want to win this fight because of this reason or that reason. I don't really need any ulterior motive. I'm a really highly self-motivated person. I just want to go out there and win every single fight. It doesn't matter. I don't care who the guy is, what the extra stuff on top of it is. I just want to go win, period.
Thank you. And for Gilbert, the same question, if you would please.
Yeah, you know, champion versus champion is a neat thing for me, but, you know, I feel like, in this case, you know, Benson's champ, and, you know, I'm coming to the octagon, a new organization. So I fought the Dream champ, I fought the Judo champ, I fought a lot of different champs and different rules. It's a neat opportunity for me. You know, I'm definitely prepared, and, yeah, I'm looking forward to the opportunity. But a long time I've been trying to prove I'm number 1, and this is my opportunity, so I'm going to take advantage of it.
And just a follow-up from Gilbert, since Benson last fought Nate Diaz, does that make it more important to you, to fuel you more to really want to win this fight?
Of course, you know, I'd love to avenge my friend. You know, I'd love to represent for my team, and yeah, you know, I got to see it firsthand what Benson's all about, front row, and of course, I would love to get that for myself and for my teammates.
And one last question, if I could, for Dana. I don't know if you've spoken at all with Dan Hardy since the announcement came out about him having to withdraw from the Matt Brown fight, and I'm just curious to see maybe where he stands right now with staying with the UFC and the organization.
Yeah, we talked to him, Lorenzo and I called him last week, and, you know, he's got some personal stuff going on right now with his family, but we're going to send him out to literally the best heart doctor in the country out in Los Angeles when he's ready to go, and we're going to get a second opinion, get him checked out.
Okay, thanks for the time. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
That is star followed by the number 1 to ask the question. We will go next to Max.
Hi, this question is Dana. Dana, if you've been asked this before, I apologize. I've been on beating on this drum for a while. Are you guys any closer to hosting a UFC big event in Cowboy Stadium in 2013? Are we looking at 2014? Is it even on the agenda anymore?
Well, yeah, obviously, if we end up doing one of these super fights, Dallas Texas Stadium is one of the places we're looking at. So it depends on what, you know, if you look at the super fight possibilities, it's George St. Pierre who just fought and won. Henderson's got to fight and win his fight, and Johnny Bones Jones has got a fight coming up in a couple weeks, and he's got to win. So once these guys get past the next opponents, we start looking at what everybody wants to do next.
Is there any chance we could think possibly 2013 is realistic, Dana, or is that, given we're now in April of 2013, overly ambitious?
Well, let's say this year we did a super fight. I'm just throwing it out there. It's just, you know, just to make a point. Say you got George St. Pierre and Anderson Silva, right? Yeah. We'd be looking at Vegas. You always look at Vegas. Dallas, Texas Stadium, Toronto, or somewhere in Brazil.
So those destinations really haven't changed for your ideas of the super fight. And no, okay. All right, Dana, thank you very much. That's all I need.
All right, thank you.
We'll take our next question from David Martin of BleacherReport.com.
My first question is for Gilbert. In the lead up to this fight on the promos that ran over the weekend during UFC on Field 9, they referred to you a lot of times as the top contender, the number one contender. And a lot of people had an issue with that because they view you as the champion. Does that fuel you? Do you pay attention to any of that?
Not really. It doesn't bother me. You got to pick your battles in the sport, and that's not one of them. I feel like I am somewhat of a challenger walking into new territory. It's a whole new organization, a whole different team, different size cage. So I'm totally fine with that. Ben Henderson is the champ of the UFC.
And I'll ask the same question to Benson, obviously. I know you got a lot of respect for Gilbert. Are you viewing this China as a champion versus champion? I know you're not going to take home the Strike Force title necessarily, but you know what I mean.
You guys know me, Jamie. I don't care all about belts and all that stuff. Like, it's nice and all that. I will take the belt and everything. But going into any fight, I don't care whether it's your first fight for the UFC, your first time on the main card, your first time, as a main event. It all doesn't matter. You just have to win. Like, I can't emphasize that enough. It doesn't matter whether it's belts on the line, whether it's win or go home, loser leaves the UFC, or whatever that's called. It doesn't matter. All that's just extra shenanigans. No fight. I don't care. I'm gonna go out there and win every single fight. That's it.
And a question for Daniel Cormier. DC leading up to this fight, obviously, there's been a lot of talk. The part we talked about last week about non-submission fights. Now there's a new statement from Frank coming out talking about taking one of your limbs coming home. Do you look at this as more hype around the fight, like a good way to build the fight between you two, or does it even hit home for you?
Well, I'm really big on fighting with emotion. I'm not going to fight with any emotion. There's not anything Frank can ever say about me that's going to make me fight a fight that's more dangerous. I really don't know. I've stated time and time again that I think there's only a select few individuals who can take the beatings that Frank has taken and all this stuff and still continue to be the way he is. Doesn't matter to me. I mean, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to fight my fight. And I'm hoping it's promotion because if that's the way his mind works, then that's very disturbing.
Thanks very much, guys.
And we will take our next question from Michael Mardones of MiddleEasy.com.
For Gilbert. Gil, what was going through your head during the post-fight press conference when Nate and Benson were up on the podium? I looked over and I saw you, and it looked like there was fire in your eyes, but I was just curious as to what you were thinking at that time.
Well, when your buddies fight, you can't help but get a little emotional out there, passionate, and you're bummed for your friend when he fights, and if you can back your friend up, you will, and at that point, I was like, give me the opportunity, to avenge my friend, give me the opportunity to fight this dude. I can do it, and that was kind of going through my head, and and I was just licking my chops, hoping to get the opportunity, and I did.
He went along to say that no one's going to stop Gilbert Melendez. What's that mean to you to hear that from him, and how important was he during this training camp for you?
Yeah, Nate's my boy. We're like best friends. We came up together in this sport, so it means a lot. He backs me up and everything, and he's been coming out a lot, doing a lot of wrestling, a lot of Muay Thai out here with us, and doing a bunch. He's very important always, a lot of this camp, but so is my whole team.
All right, thanks for the time, Gil.
Thanks.
Once again, that is star followed by the number 1 to ask a question. We will go next to Dave Dybert of Post Media News.
Hey guys, thanks for the time. Just a couple quick ones for Dana. Another fight on the card. Canadian up-and-comer, Jordan Mean. Give me your thoughts, if you could, on his debut and where you see him right now.
Yeah, well, obviously we were very impressed with his performance, and that's why when this fight fell apart, we put him in. We replaced him because we were very blown away by his last fight. We like this kid. I think Brown's going to be a great fight.
Another one yesterday, Matt Mitrione. A little bit of how disappointed were you in that whole affair?
Well, it's one of those things. It's just a pain in the ass. You know what I mean? First of all, he didn't even need to be doing an interview. And I'm going to talk to these guys. The only time these guys really need to be doing interviews is leading up to fights. It ended up being a nightmare for him. What was the point of that interview? There was no point in it. And now it's caused him a bunch of headache and problems, caused us a bunch of headache and problems for no reason whatsoever. He had just fought. He wouldn't fight again for another few months. And he's still over there enjoying himself in Sweden. What was the point in doing that interview? And, what was the upside in that interview? There was none. No upside.
Okay. All right. Last one for you. Fox Sports, the debut event in Boston. Any word on what you're working on for that card? Obviously, you guys in Fox will want to kick things off. In fine, they're in big form anyway. Anything that you guys are working on?
But we still have time, it's still early, and there's a lot of fights that are going to happen before we even start putting that card together. But obviously, it's the launch of Fox Sports 1. We're doing a huge fight in Boston, and they have, that's the day that the Red Sox and the Yankees are playing, and we're going to do some really cool stuff. It's going to be a huge event, and we're going to put together a great card, but we don't have anything together yet.
All right. Thanks, Ken.
Thank you.
We'll take our next question from Jeffrey Harris of 411mania.com.
Thank you all for joining us today. First question for Frank. When fight time comes, it'll have been 11 months since your last fight. Are you concerned about any ring rust going into this fight against an opponent like Daniel Cormier?
Well, not really. In the heavyweight division of our fight, sometimes it's spread out. Especially how you call it the bladder, and it's hard to find matchups that help you move forward in your career.
And for Daniel, now that Cain Velasquez is champion again, are you thinking about light heavyweight? And if you were to go down there, are you confident you can make that weight, or do you need to try a test cut?
Well, I've got such an important fight on my hands in this next one that I really try and I've kind of strayed away from that thought process. I'm not really thinking about the 205-pound division right now. I've stated time and time again that I want to be the UFC champion, and if that means going down to the weight below, then I would do that. But I have the toughest fight of my career in front of me in 2 weeks, and I can't focus on that right now. For me to have stated that I would consider it means that I'm confident that I can make the weight. But right now, my sole focus is on Frank Mir, and once we get past Frank, then we can talk about that other stuff.
Great, thank you. And for Gilbert Melendez, do you feel like you have to make a statement at all, considering your states have been unsuccessful in several fights in UFC title bouts? Do you feel like you're the last bastion of hope for Team Caesar Brady to bring home a UFC title?
Thanks for the pressure. I hope to win the title for my team, but I really try not to put too much pressure on myself. Again, I go out there and fight and, fight my fight. But, I think it's a great accomplishment for my whole team just to even get title fights, Not many teams can say that. Dave Terrell, Gil Castillo, Nick, Jake, and Nate have all had title fights. That's great for our team. So, if anything, it's an accomplishment for our team. But, I'd love to be able to bring that title back to the gym and share it with those guys. So, no added pressure.
Thank you very much.
And once again, that is star followed by the number 1 to ask a question. We will go next to Victoria Bulwarkeva of Russian Chicago Magazine.
Hello, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us on the call. My question is for Frank Mir and for Daniel. Both you guys in each of your camps have Russian Dagestani guys training with you. My question is next. What all of them bring you to the table? What new can you get from training with them? And how was the training with the Russian guys? Like, how is the Magneto for you, Daniel, and Frank for some of the guys like Ataman Shimov and other guys that participate in Palladium and UFC?
Well, I know personally the guys that my camp, Aslan and Ruslan, those guys are surrounded. They come in, they're all smiles and they're happy and they're in good mood, they're dancing around, and they're all race, and they're out there launching guys around. They got a phenomenal background in grappling. They're some of the craziest kicks I think I've ever seen in my life. So I think it's an asset to have them around. I enjoy their work ethic. When it's time to train, they're all business, and then as soon as it's over with, no matter what, if someone gets knocked down, choked out, thrown to the air, it seems like it's all forgotten, and now it's just back to being buddies and hanging out, and the wars again tomorrow.
Yeah, well, training with Khabib has been great. I think he falls in line with what we have here at AK. He came in and found his spot, never stepped on anybody. He's told it just works extremely hard. He's completely focused. And his goals are the same as everyone else in this gym. We have a sole goal, a sole focus, and that's to be the best in the world. And Khabib falls in line with that, man. He walks back and forth from his hotel to the gym 2 times a day. He runs in the morning. He does everything the right way, and it's easy to learn from a guy like that because you see him doing it, you see his commitment to getting better, and it just actually. He completely fits what we're all trying to accomplish in this gym.
Thank you very much. And my next question is to Dana. Dana, is Russia still on the list for 2013? Or there was some talk that maybe Ultimate Fighter will be coming to Russia? Would you do any clarification if there's any on the subject, please?
Yes, we're still working on it. We're working on a bunch of these different territories. Sometimes things take longer than they expect. For instance, if anything, we should have had an Ultimate Fighter Canada, a while ago, but we're still working on that too. So yeah, we're working on China, India, Canada, and Russia.
Thank you so much, everybody, and good luck.
And we will take our next question from EJ Perez of FoxSports.com.
Hey, Dana, obviously you got to go into the home of the Strike Force, next week. How has the integration gone? You've obviously owned them for a couple of years now, and you merged them together a few months ago. Overall, how smoothly has it gone, and what do you think of pretty much all the talent you got in this?
It's been awesome. It's been a great experience. I love, you hear me every time a new guy from Strike Force fights in the UFC. These guys are hungry, and I said it before, and I'll say it again. Some horrible shit happened to those guys. They were sitting on the shelf for a long time, didn't make money, didn't get the fight. It was frustrating for me. I can imagine how it felt for them. So I love it. I love when the Strike Force guys fighting, especially for the first time.
Cool, thanks.
Yeah.
And this does conclude today's Q&A session. I'm now waiting to turn the call back to Michelle for closing remarks.
Thank you very much, and thanks everybody for your time today. Once again, Fox UFC Saturday, April 20th from the HP Pavilion in San Jose. The main event, champion versus champion Benson Henderson, the UFC lightweight champion versus Strikeforce champion Gilbert Melendez, as well as Frank Mir versus Daniel Cormier. Before we get to the schedule for next week, I just wanted to run through, obviously, the Ultimate Fighter season finale. Is joining us tonight. Don't want to miss that. See who makes it to Saturday's finale. For media purposes, on Thursday, April 11th, the event that I'm about to announce is closed to the public, but we are encouraging media members to come on out. It's the Ultimate Fighter finale open workout at the Ultimate Fighter gym here in Las Vegas from 12 to 3 p.m. Participating will be both top finalists, Uriah Faber, Scott Jorgensen, Misha Tate, Kat Zingano, Travis Brown, and Gabriel Gonzaga. And then as we roll into San Jose next week, our first big media event will be Thursday, April 18th at the HP Pavilion. That event is closed to the public, but it is Henderson versus Melendez media availability featuring the entire main card of the Fox broadcast, as well as Dana White. That event kicks off at 11 a.m. I want to thank everybody for joining us today. Thank you to Benson, Gil, Daniel, and Frank, and all the media who joined us today. We will see you in a few days for the Ultimate Fighter finale.
conference call. Once again, we would like to thank everyone for your participation and have a wonderful day.